G'day everyone, I'm the Red Scar. This is Red Scar Gaming. Today's my summary of the sixth draft I had with this Lost Cabins of Ixalan. Had to think about that for a second. Draft, and at least statistically, that's about as bad as you can get. I lost 3 games straight up pretty quickly, and yeah, let's hopefully learn how I can not do that again. Acrobatic Leap is one of the few cards that I probably could have used a bit better just on the defensive anyway, which I suppose is just my blame. But yeah, is there something I could have taken instead of that? I'll think about that a bit later. Mine is Guidewing. I didn't. Actually, sorry, no. I was about to say I didn't draw it at all, but I did actually. I think it was game 1, but my opponent just exiled it straight away. So in that particular case, it was good on you, best of luck. But I'm still happy with Miner's Guidewing in general. I know it's not like it's a 1 mana cost creature. It's not going to dominate the game from the start. So yeah, it's good, but yeah, it just didn't do me good this time. Otter Clan Landmark. I didn't get to use that at all. Though actually, as a whole, I did actually get to use most of this deck, despite 3 games. I got a little bit lucky in that regard, I suppose. But yeah, I just didn't get to use as many of them effectively as I probably hoped. Ruin Lurker Bat. It's still a good card. Like Flying Lifelink is good for 1 mana. It really is. The whole end step trigger if you descended, scrying 1 certainly helps. I didn't get, I don't think I got any opportunity to use it actually, in that particular regard, but look, I'm still happy with that card just in general for a draft. Attentive Sunscribe, I did play him once. I didn't get to use the Scry, I think it was game 2, but yeah, for 2 mana, you shouldn't probably expect too much. It's 2/2 that can jump block. It's in the case of this particular deck, I think I was trying to get the artifact triggers that various cards in this deck have, like when you play an artifact, do this sort of thing. But yeah, I just didn't get it in this case. Maybe that I shouldn't have relied on it as much, but yeah, we'll think about that as we keep going. Clade-Fired Bricks is another card that I didn't get any use out of, though maybe, and sort of thinking aloud, maybe I should have relied on it a bit more because, as I said pretty much from the start, I've got a low mana curve, so maybe I should be having a few less lands. In fact, maybe even 2 less lands, because I do have a pretty dang small mana curve. Yeah, what's my average? 2.4. So yeah, that's pretty dang low. I was sort of hoping to go a bit wider with artifacts in general. So Clay-Fired Bricks would have been good in that regard, and I still would have been able to get at least some planes out. Plus, it would have given me the 7 mana to spend should I draw lots of cards, but yeah, just didn't get it. Dauntless Dismantler, sounds like a rap artist there. I got actually pretty good use out of him game 3. My opponent slowed down basically a turn, I'd say, because of Dauntless Dismantler. He certainly didn't win me that game. Well, I mean, hey, I lost every game. And he's a defensive creature at the best of times, but he's still good. He's probably more a sideboard card, which me playing quick draft, I don't get to use my sideboard, but he's still not bad. Family Reunion, I was hoping for better use out of him. It was game 2, I think, that I drew it and played it to some effect, and yeah, I still lost the game, but that's alright. I maybe lasted another turn because of that. Ironpaw Aspirant is still a pretty good 2-drop, I reckon, because I don't mind, well, I for one, don't mind chump blocking it, using it for something bigger, but you can also ETB make something you want to be bigger, bigger. So it's so I'm sure I could have worded that better, but yeah, it has its uses, and even just as a 2 mana cost creature that is 2/3, it's not bad. Though I didn't get much effective use out of it, I'd say, in this particular draft. It might just be bad luck though. Spring-Loaded Sawblade is another card that I didn't draw at all. It's basically destroy target attacking creature in the right circumstances, and I can't think of anything in particular that it would have been good at, like game 1, 2, 3 or whatever. But I mean, it's generally just a good card. The whole craft with artifact would have been particularly useful had I been able to play it, but yeah, just didn't get the chance. Oaken Siren was one of those cards that, yeah, the Flying Vigilance bit really helped. The fact that it's 2 toughness is good for the defensive, and vigilance is good for the defensive. I don't think I would have got much use out of the tap add mana for an activated an artifact spell. You know what I mean? So yeah, in this particular case, it probably wasn't the best time to use it, but it's still a decent card, maybe. Subterranean Schooner, I did play it, but I didn't get turned it into a creature. I suppose to some degree, and it's ultimately my fault, but I suppose to some degree I should blame my judgment of how that might go in the draft, because I did, at least sort of first pack, I did pick a lot of cards based on their ability to interact with artifacts and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it might be I made a mistake picking that as my first pick, and that's why the rest of the deck was terrible, to very much oversimplify it. But yeah, Compass Gnome, with the whole artifact synchronization here, he was good. Though I didn't get much by way of interaction with artifacts. He's still good for the whole search for a basic land card, though, because I was thinking of Jeskai for a while, he probably would have been a little better in that circumstance. But yeah, I'm happy with how he went. Look, he's not a game winner at the best of times anyway, but yeah, he's a good card. Envoy of Okinek Ahu, which I swear I pronounce differently every single turn, every time, you know what I mean. He is one of the examples in this deck where you play all your spells early game and activate all your abilities late game, is sort of the way I was hoping this deck would work. Did I draw him at all, actually? I don't think I did. Though I've played him a few times in other decks, but even if you just get a few gnomes out, you spend that extra mana that you weren't going to spend anything else on. So yeah, he's good. He probably would have been better with the various activations of artifacts that I had in this deck. That yeah, it might just be a bit of bad luck again. Like I don't want to blame everything on bad luck, because I know that I know that at least somewhere in here I made a bad decision. But yeah, look, I know that at least some of those games I had way too many land. Glorifier of Suffering. From the start, I knew that's not a great card. It has the opportune moments, but I just didn't get any of them. So yeah, I probably shouldn't have drafted him probably at all, really, at least with the power of hindsight. Merfolk Cave Diver is another one, actually. I think I drafted at least one of them second, might have been, that with the whole explore trigger there, he can be a very aggressive creature. It can be, if not like game winning in one turn or anything, but he is good on the defensive as well. So in that regard, I'm pretty happy I drafted him. Oh, two of him is even better, but I just didn't get the use out of him that I probably hoped for. I suppose with that in mind, because I was somewhat intending to go wide rather than tall, I probably should have focused on the aggressive aspects of doing that rather than defensive, like Merfolk Cave Diver and several other creatures, like even Iron Paw Aspirant or with some other ones. Where is that? Oh, Dauntless Dismantler. They have a lot more toughness than they do power. So yeah, maybe I should have gone a bit more just higher power rather than toughness per se. Tashana's Tidebinder, another one I didn't get to draw actually. The ETB counters something cool. Has its moments, and I think that just generally speaking, you can at least think about drafting it. Like, it's certainly not a terrible card. In this deck, I might not have needed it. I don't think any of my opponents were sort of heavy on the artifact trigger, though it was third game actually that I would have been able to use him for the what was it? When my opponent had Envoy of Okinek Ahu and made a few gnomes, so I could have countered that. But yeah, for 3 mana, stopping a 1/1 from entering the board is not useless, but it's not great. Adaptive Gem Guard I got a little bit of use out of. He's one of the examples where I was hoping for more artifacts, and more artifacts certainly would have helped Gem Guard. I know that he's not amazing, even if you are pretty heavy on the artifact deck. If you could do that at instant speed, he would be like bordering on broken. Bordering. I'm sure someone will disagree with me, but yeah, I can see why they said only activated as a sorcery. Actually, I wouldn't mind, and feel free to disagree with me, but I wouldn't mind if he was one white and 3 for even a 1/1 with that ability, but you could activate at instant speed. That could be interesting because you could go, look, you can make this guy very strong very quickly, but your opponent can also kill it very easily if you're not careful. So anyway, I'll stop speculating too much. It didn't do very well this particular time, though it's one of the cards that did probably best. Frilled Cave Worm, in a similar statement to what I had made before, it's just one of those ones that it was too defensive, and I needed, in hindsight, I needed something that had higher power than toughness, sort of big dumb creature style. If I was if I had descend 4, it's certainly the biggest creature out in my deck anyway. But it's a 4/5. Even then, is not great. Waylaying Pirates, I had in my second game, and my opponent just was able to discard it. I remember that I tried to play, or thought about playing it, but I just sort of didn't get the opportune moment, which may have just been my bad decision as far as I should have played it, despite the fact that it wasn't an opportune moment. But I suppose you can blame that on me, or probably blame a lot of things on me, actually. Master's Guide Mural. In the case of what I had going, once again, interaction with the artifact, I only ever got to use it as a 4/4 golem, essentially, which, look, it's still not terrible. Like, even if you just play it as a 4/4, it's still, I'd prefer to spend 5 mana on something else, but it's still not a terrible way to spend 5 mana. But craft with artifact is certainly the reason you would want to draft that, and I didn't get much opportunity to do that. I think it was only third game I played it, and I once again didn't get much interaction with my artifact. Land wise, as I said before, I probably should have dropped even 2 lands, like one of each would have probably done it, or maybe 2 islands, because I'm a bit heavier on the planes, white cards, you know what I mean, at the lower mana curve. So yeah, it's maybe 2 islands, but we'll think about that later. Yeah, I definitely didn't need a second acrobatic leap. Though, look, I'm sure there's one moment that I could have. Deconstruction hammer, I've used before, and I was basically unhappy with it the last time I used it. I know it's not a terrible card, but it's if it's equipped ability, yeah, that's the word for it. Yeah, the +1/+1 for the creature is not terribly worth it. It needs to be something that's like, say, double strike or trample and all that sort of thing to worth spending 1 mana on it. It's certainly not useless, but yeah, I didn't get to use it. Thousand Moons Infantry. Yeah, once again, I think I needed something that was higher in power. So I probably should have kept. Yeah, probably should have kept 1 instead of, say, Acrobatic Leap, or even Waylaying Pirates. Yeah, though I wanted to be a bit careful not having anything for 4 mana. Waterlogged Hulk. Yeah, I don't think I would have wanted the Miller card. I know it's good in the right deck, but yeah, mine certainly wasn't. Shipwreck Sentry. Yeah, once again, it's a defending card. It has Defender, but when it does work, it does work. And once again, it's an artifact trigger. I'm glad I didn't draft that. At least with the luck I had, I wouldn't have got to attack with that often. There's maybe game 1, 2, I would have lasted a few more turns, maybe, but I wasn't attacking my opponent much anyway. Song of Stupefaction. Yeah, I don't think actually there was many times that I had much in my graveyard. So yeah, in hindsight anyway, I don't think Song of Stupefaction would have been particularly useful in this deck. I'm sure it has its moments, but yeah, just not in this one. Out of Air is one that I did think about quite a lot. Countering target spell is sort of just useful regardless. Especially if it's a creature spell in this particular case. But yeah, I still think I needed some bigger creatures, or bigger cards anyway. So out of Air, yeah, maybe. Didact Echo. I know that Didact Echo is not a popular card, but maybe actually in hindsight, I should have hung on to that one, simply for the ETB draw, and to have something that maybe has flying. Yeah, the more I talk about it, it's a worse card, but maybe in this case it should have been the maybe instead of Waylaying Pirates actually, because or Glorifier of Suffering, because I wasn't doing much with them anyway, so maybe it was just have big dumb creature sort of thing. Another Chance is the only one black card I would have had. So I don't think I might have got to use it actually. Yeah, but just taking black for that, I don't think so. Now about that Jeskai stuff I was talking about before, Goblin Tomb Raider is probably the one card actually that I would have done well with, because even though I didn't get the triggered abilities of like when artifact Master's Manufactory, while I didn't get the when an artifact ETBs terribly often, he doesn't really care, and even just like a 1/2 for 1 is not bad anyway. Though once again, his power is not higher than his toughness, which I can understand for 1 mana, of course. So maybe I could have gone Tomb Raider. Yeah, Tomb Raider. Burning Sun Cavalry. Yeah, is definitely more dinosaur themed deck. I probably wouldn't have got to use him terribly effectively. If I put him in maybe instead of maybe even family reunion, but clayfied bricks, though I wanted artifact triggers more. Hot foot, hot foot gnome. Uh, Even when I drafted it, I mentioned that look, if it works, but it's probably better in a deck where you've got some big dumb creature, so you don't mind essentially sacrificing its attack for the 5/5 trample or whatever you tap it for. So yeah, it's definitely a good card. I might have, yeah, maybe I should have gone with that simply for the artifact trigger, but yeah, it's a little bit of, is that enough red? Similar with Child of the Volcano, in that it's the 4 mana that I wanted with that in mind anyway, I would have rather have played the longer game. So maybe Child of the Volcano and even Goblin Tomb Raider would have been good in how this turned out, because most of my games were, I was on the defensive for most of it. So maybe Child of the Volcano would have been good. Daring Discovery, most people will say that that's a pretty terrible card. It's definitely for the more aggressive side of decks, but maybe I could have actually used that. Yeah, I would have had to have gone wider though to use that, because I would have had to attack with lots of smaller creatures, so therefore I needed 3 things not to block. The Discover 4 would have been actually probably pretty bad in here, because there's a lot of 2 mana cost, 1 mana cost sort of stuff. So yeah, once again, I don't think I'll go with it. Seismic Monstrosaur, were I going red? Yeah, look, I probably should have gone Jeskai. With the power of hindsight, I probably should have gone Jeskai. Or at least drafted Azorius differently. Seismic Monstrosaur, I know the whole mountain cycling thing is really good, but he's one of those cards that you don't mind banking a few turns to have a 6/5 trample. He's just big dumb, who cares what else he does sort of thing. So, and I do like those cards, but yeah, I just didn't get a chance to use him. Seeker of Sunlight is one of the few cards actually that I probably would have splashed green. But yeah, I would have wanted probably 2 of them or something, 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah, probably not good enough to go green for a 1 mana green creature. And Forgotten Monument, as I said when I was drafting it, look, I'll grab it, see how it goes, but I don't think I'll take it. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't keep it in. But yeah, as I said here, I lost 3 games, so learn from my mistakes and don't draft this deck, or at the very least draw slightly luckier. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.